We're going to, first of all, my name is Rabbi Yosef Levin. Welcome to Cooking with Rabbi. Tonight, we have a special guest all the way from Argentina. She is my niece, Leah Taubenfliegel. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, it's a pleasure. All right. Before we get started, just want to make sure that, first of all, we're going to give tzedakah. I want to invite you to give tzedakah with me. We always start the show with some tzedakah. We want this to be totally interactive. So please, if you have any questions, speak up, ask any questions. You're welcome to share any questions you have. And we're working on getting on Facebook. We'll be on Facebook in a minute. So I guess I'll make that announcement once we get onto Facebook. Okay. Leah, where do we start? Should I start warming up the oven?
You can start preheating the oven, yes, to like 375, 400. And then you should have your onions ready. Sorry, we're going to start making the dough, not the filling.
Yes, we're going to start with the dough. Okay. Where do we start?
So for the dough, you're just going to put all your ingredients, which are 2 cups of flour. And you're going to put half a cup of oil, half a cup of water.
I'm not here. I assume flour, 2 cups of flour. Okay, just a minute. Okay, 2 cups of flour.
Half a cup of oil, vegetable oil, canola oil, any neutral oil.
How much oil?
Half a cup.
Can't hear.
You can't hear me?
Okay. By the way, no, I can hear you now. You're coming in and out. Okay. Tell me what are these things? Empanadas. What is empanadas?
The empanadas are really, the name empanadas means in dough, in bread. So it's really any type of food that is covered in bread, in a bread dough. And they can be either sweet or savory, and they can be fried or baked. So that's basically empanada. And it's a very classic, traditional Argentinian food, which is served in Argentinian holidays or special dates, and also in like parties as a finger food, as a food, easy food to eat when people get together. You don't need a plate, you don't need a fork, you can eat them with your hands, and that's basically what it is. And they're delicious. You'll see some.
Sounds good. We'll find out. All right. Now we have oil and we have flour. What's next?
You will add half a cup of cold water, water from the tap, regular water.
Okay.
And you will add a tablespoon vinegar, white vinegar, and a teaspoon of salt. What the vinegar does is
tablespoon
of vinegar. And the vinegar makes the dough be a little bit flaky. So it's going to be a delicious dough.
Some of the people I know. Okay, 1 second. 1 tablespoon of vinegar. And 1 teaspoon of salt, you said?
Yeah, you can go a little bit more salt. You can do a teaspoon, a heaping teaspoon.
Okay. Okay. Now mix it.
Now just mix it up, and then once it's mixed, you are going to put it into a plastic bag, and it's going to rest in the fridge until it's ready to use. Somebody asked if you can use cider vinegar, apple cider vinegar. I don't know. Probably it might affect the taste, but I've never done it before. You can try and then let me know.
So I need to mix this by hand now, right?
Yeah, yeah. Now you use your hands, and it's gonna be a very soft, smooth, oily dough. And then it could be that when we're gonna roll it out, you might need to add a little bit more flour, like use plenty of flour on your surface to make it not basically not stick and hold its shape. But it's a very smooth, soft dough.
Yeah, it's very, very, very soft. Very, very easy to knead.
Very, very easy.
In a plastic bag in the fridge.
Just like that. Put the bag inside the same bowl in case some of the oil comes out of the dough, which can happen, and it's fine. Um, it could stay overnight in the fridge. What has happened to me is that more of the oil came out of the dough, like it oozes out of the dough. So you just mix it back in or leave it out. It won't make a difference.
Put it in the fridge.
I'm gonna tell you a little tip here. If you have like extra dough, any leftover dough, you can put some spices on it, like um, dried onions, garlic, any spice you like, and roll it out very, very thinly over a parchment paper, and make some delicious crackers with this same dough.
Okay, next we're gonna do now the meat.
Now
I mean,
you're
there's
gonna make. So you're going to preheat a pot or frying pan, whatever you're using, on a medium high flame, medium flame,
yeah, with oil. With oil.
with oil.
How much oil?
Um, you can do 1 to 2 tablespoons. Is your meat you're using very lean or it's a fatty meat?
It's not fatty meat. It's
So
lean for 90% lean.
okay, so do 2 tablespoons oil.
2 tablespoons of oil. Okay. Okay. And put it on medium. You said okay.
Yeah, medium,
Okay.
medium or a little lower because your onion is not
Yeah.
diced yet. You don't want the peel to burn, so put it on a lower flame just to be warm when you're ready. And now you're going to dice the onion, peel it and dice it small.
While I'm doing that, I want to ask you, of all the foods that I asked you to suggest, you suggested empanadas. Why did you suggest empanadas? You said it's easy to make, easy to eat. Is it like one of your favorite things to cook?
I suggested empanadas because empanadas is like the Argentinian food. Um, like if you would think Israeli, you would say falafel maybe. So Argentinian food is empanadas is one of the um, classical traditional Argentinian food, and because they're so
One of
good.
your cousins, one of your cousins, one of my other nieces or nephews, when we were talking about having someone come on and do the show with me, said, ask Leah to do her empanadas. Apparently
What's
they
that?
ate it and really enjoyed it. One of your cousins, I don't remember. Apparently
Oh,
they ate it in the house and really loved it. So it
that's
must be
interesting.
really good. Okay, dicing small, very small, or how?
Dice it small, yeah.
Somebody in the middle of the screen.
I would say watch your oil if the fire is on already because it might be ready by now. Move it away from the stove.
I can turn it down.
Now, empanadas are something that each region, each person makes different, right? So let's say the correct way to make them is with meat that I forgot to check what cut it would be in English, what it would be called. Matambre, mami, are you there? Can you help me out? Um,
What?
Basically, I don't know what the cut is called in English.
What's called? What?
Matambre. Matambre. It's a thin layer that is on top of the, like, you buy, I don't know if in America this happens. By us, it happens, and sometimes it's still attached. Like when you buy planking, it comes on top, like on top of the meat, like thin, another thin meat.
Not
Could be
fat?
brisket. Brisket could be brisket.
No, it's not brisket.
No. Okay.
I'm
I
gonna
don't know.
put this in the pan, right?
What?
I'm gonna put this in the pan.
Put it in your pot. Yeah, put it in your pot. So basically, the classic way to make empanadas, or one of the ways to make it, is really instead of using minced meat, is like you put the meat in salt water for an hour, and then it's chopped with it. You just like chop it, and then you make the empanadas. I always made with chopped meat like this, minced meat, and it's great. So this is what we're doing
Can I
tonight.
stir the onions?
Stir the onions, keep watching them until they become translucent, and in the meantime you can go ahead and dice your red bell pepper, same size as the onions, and you will add that to the onions.
Okay, this is a trick I learned from one of my cousins actually, how to get this centerpiece out. Now, I learned a new way let me see if it works, how to dice red peppers. So I'm cutting them, but leaving the end uncut. And that way it's much easier to dice them. So I just go like that.
Okay.
Facebook. To make that one first.
Flank steak could be.
What? Okay, tell
Some of
me,
you-
I wanted to ask you, you were born in Argentina, you grew up in Argentina. How do you know English so well?
Well, you must know by now that my mother is from England. I think you know her.
I think I met her.
Yeah,
Little
I think you
sister.
met. So yeah, your sister is my mom. So growing up, we always had English in the house, although we didn't speak it, but we had it there. We always had tapes and stories. And so it went into the system, you know? And then eventually when I needed it, I had it. And after high school, I went to study in Israel with your daughter, Ricky. And over there I was surrounded by American girls. So that's where I really, really needed it. And a year later, I went to teach in Costa Rica, and I was teaching in English. And then I married my husband, who's an American. So right now, I think I dream in English. I don't know. My lists are in English. Everything's in English. My house is in English.
Even the temperature on the oven was in English. You said 375. Huh?
I would have said I would have said 180, but I don't know if that would. I want to tell you that when I had to give you the measurements for the recipe, I had to translate everything because I think in meters and in kilos and in, not in pounds or in. So yeah.
Okay, so I'm still waiting for the onions to cook more.
You want to show them to me?
Yeah, can you show the onions?
Are they? I imagine by now they're like already translucent. You don't want them brown. You just want to.
They're still white. Do you want to go a little longer? Should I put the fire a little higher?
You can, yeah, put the fire a little bit, give it a minute or two, and then you can just add the peppers to it. But you don't need any browning on them. You just want to start cooking them because we're going to put the meat on top and we want them cooked before that.
So I don't want the onions to brown at all, just to kind of start cooking.
Yeah, you don't need to brown them, no.
Okay, so I'll give it another minute and then I'll put it in the. So your husband is from where?
My husband is from upstate New York, from the Catskill Mountains.
Mhm. So what made you decide to go? You became shluchim, you're working for Chabad, you're doing the Rebbe's work in Argentina. What made you decide to go to Argentina specifically?
Well, as you said, I grew up here. So I knew from day one that once I get married, I will not come back here. And that's one of the things I wanted to be very clear about with my husband when we were dating. And on our second date, I told him that we are not going to end up in Argentina. And there I learned on my own skin that you never say never. And what you will say that you say that you never want to do, that's what you're gonna end up doing. So that's eventually after we got married, he started working here, teaching kids and doing all kinds of programs with the kids. So that's how we were offered the position here and we stay here.
Very good. Just a minute, I'll be right with you.
Sorry?
I'm just putting the peppers in.
Yeah, like mix it up so the peppers touch the bottom of the pot. And again, you're gonna wait a few minutes, 2-3 minutes, and you will add the meat to that pot.
You don't want the peppers to cook yet? To like really cook?
Yeah, they should start cooking, but again, you don't want any browning. You don't need any browning. They should just like cook while you prepare the rest of your ingredients.
Okay, I want to welcome. We had a little bit of difficulty getting on Facebook. We're gonna repost the whole show from the beginning. Welcome to everybody from Facebook who just came on. My name is Rabbi Yosef Levin, and I'm with Chabad in Palo Alto. Welcome to Cooking with the Rabbi. We have a special guest today, my niece, who is now in Argentina and streaming live from Argentina, Rebbitzin Leah Taubenfliegel. So again, thank you for joining me. And to all those who are on Facebook, if you'd like to ask a question, make a comment, we will try and address them as we go along. So Leah, tell me what's life like for Jews in Argentina? What's the Jewish community like? What's life like for Jewish people there?
Okay. I'll tell you a little bit of what it was like when I was little, and then I'll tell you what it's like now, and you'll see how it grew so much in the last 30 years. So when I was little, the community was very, very small. I had in my grade 8 girls, and that was considered a very, very large group of girls in one grade. The grade on top of me was 3. The grade after me was also 3, and the one after that was 2 girls. And then there was a grade that didn't have it, skipped a grade, so they put first and second grade together because there wouldn't be a normal classroom otherwise. So that was the size of the school. When I was in high school, there were 28 girls in the entire high school. There wasn't much kosher food.
This is a Chabad school?
This is a Chabad school, yes. Yeah, Chabad school. There wasn't much kosher food to buy. From what I remember, there were like 1 or 2 types of crackers and 1 cake that a caterer had, and maybe challah. Dairy, there was probably cheese, hard cheese, and milk only. That nosh, forget it. There was no nosh whatsoever. When we traveled to America, we felt like kids in a candy store, literally, like candies and cookies and ice cream. It was all like dreams, you know. By now, 30 years later, I have a kosher store around the corner from me, another one down the block. A few meters down, there's a bakery, and there's 2 blocks away from my house is like the corner where you can find an ice cream store, 2 or 3 kosher grocery stores, supermarkets, and pizza shops, and asado places to eat meat. And there's Israeli food, and there is sushi, and there's like Right now, that is like that's the Jewish center,
But
let's say.
what
In
happened to it? How come it grew so much? What happened to make it grow so much? By the way, remind me when you want me to put in the meat. What do
yeah.
you think it grows so much?
Okay, first of all, put your meat in the meat in the pot, and you can start breaking it up with a fork or with a potato masher or whatever you have to break it up. You don't want any lumps. You want it to be separate, and you're going to brown it. Um, what happened was that the communities grew very, very much. The Chabad community grew a lot. There are, I think, close to 100 Chabad rabbis in Argentina. Not all of them in Buenos Aires, obviously, but a big majority in Buenos Aires. The other communities also grew. There are big schools. Like I said, down the block from me, there, right under my house, there was a girls' school. They just moved out, but there was a shul. There's all kinds of communities. You walk on the street and you hear people. You hear different shuls of Ashkenazi people, Sephardi people. Um, the communities grew a lot. So right
Hello?
now, it's very, yeah. You hear me?
Sorry, no, now I hear you. Start again. I'm really sorry. Start again. What made the community grow so much?
What made the community grow so much? I
Was
don't
it,
know.
was it, was it like
Sorry.
people coming in, friends, or just the community grew? Was it Chabad work? Was it other people in the community, Rabbanim, schools? How did the communities become so successful?
Okay, so the way I see it, I think all the communities grew. Not only Chabad grew, but Chabad grew very, very much. When I was little, there were a handful of rabbis in Buenos Aires and in Argentina in general. Right now, there are around 100 rabbis. Rabbis, I mean, families of rabbis that dedicate their lives to teach, and they have a synagogue, and they have schools, and they have communities. Um, Also, like you said, moved people moved here or started staying more. It could be that years back, people married people from outside Argentina and left because the community wasn't so large and there was a lot of things were lacking here. So people left and now people are staying. That could be one of the reasons. No, kids grow
Okay,
up,
how,
they have more kids, and
how's the meat
community.
look?
Sorry,
How does the meat look?
I don't really
Okay?
see it. No, but is it cooked through already? Is it cooked?
No, it's not cooked yet.
Okay,
Do I need to stir it? Am I stirring it until, huh?
keep mixing it until most of it is cooked because you don't want big pieces of meat. You don't want chunks. You want it all to be grated. Um, and cooked until you see that you don't see any more pink until it's cooked, and then you are going to cover the pot and add your spices, and then you're going to cover the pot and let it simmer a little bit to cook more.
Okay, it looks like it's cooked through. What did you want me to do? Add what?
So now you're going to add salt and pepper to taste. I don't add any black pepper, but you can add black pepper if you like. You're going to add also some. Yeah, you were saying about my English. I don't know how you say this. You say cumin or you say cumin?
Well, we say cumin. I'm going to put a little
Okay.
bit of pepper.
Okay. Very little pepper.
Cumin, you said,
Cumin.
where's my cumin? Here's my
Like
cumin.
a
How much do you say cumin?
quarter teaspoon, half a teaspoon, not too much.
Okay. Okay, stir it up.
Yeah. And now you can now cover it and lower the flame, let it cook a little longer to make sure the meat is really cooked through.
Okay. And now we want it to. Okay. It's on low. Next.
Okay, now you can you use another spice? Yes, you can use paprika if you like. You can use oregano. You can use any other spice you like. Garlic. Some people actually, one of the traditional ways to make empanadas is to put raisins inside. I never had it, and I don't think I will try it anytime soon with raisins. But that's another ingredient you can add. You
Okay.
can make it spicy if you want, hot and spicy with more like, you know, red pepper, crushed pepper or something.
What am I doing now? Anything else?
Yeah, so now once the meat is cooked, you will add to it hard-boiled eggs that you're going to first chop small, like just like chop it, and also green olives. So you can put between 2 and 3 eggs.
2 or 3? You tell me. I have 3. Should I make 3 or 2?
Are they big eggs?
They're officially large, but I don't know what large means in Argentina compared to here. I think here they say large means bigger than tiny, but I'm not
If
sure.
they're bigger than tiny, you can put 3 eggs. Yeah, put 3 eggs. It's gonna be good.
Okay,
Yeah, just chop it small.
with a knife. So what is Chabad's influence? What would you say has been Chabad's influence in Argentina, Buenos Aires, or in Argentina in general?
Um, okay, like we said, the communities grew a lot, and the Chabad itself grew a lot, and Chabad is
Just want
now.
to, sorry, I just want to point out that because I'm chopping the eggs, not eating them whole, I'm opening them up. It's very rare, but I'm opening them up to see if there's any blood in them. Now, when the egg is raw, the blood would be on the yellow. When the egg is cooked, the blood would be if there was blood, it would be a blood spot on the white, and then I wouldn't use the egg. But there's no blood on this one. I'm just checking it. I'm sorry. Please go ahead while I chop up the egg.
Um, I was saying that Chabad is now a known part of Judaism here in Argentina. Um, People, you ask about Chabad, and they say, "Oh, Chabad, yeah, they do the big menorah lighting in the park, right?" Or they are the ones that come to my store on Fridays to offer me to put on tefillin or to light Shabbat candles, right? So that is one of the things that Chabad, you know, like Chabad reached a lot of people. Chabad is here always to help people in need. Like in the year 2000, 2001, there was a very, very big crisis. I'm sure people know about this in Argentina, um, where people literally lost a lot of money, lost all their savings, everything they had in the banks was lost, and people were left on the streets, literally. Chabad then opened a center for kids, homes for kids, and they saved hundreds of kids from living in the streets and growing up in the streets. These kids are by now, some of them married, some of them moved to Israel and are now serving in the Israeli army. I could say that 99% of these kids end up being, proper adults and who, are have a future, have a good future, as opposed to if they would have, God forbid, lived in the streets, who knows what would have happened to them. That's a very big thing Chabad achieved here. And like I said, Chabad helps people have a Pesach Seder wherever they are, and whatever they need. They know Chabad is here, open doors and open arms to receive you.
About synagogues and schools, what do I do with the eggs? I know it's kind of weird. We have to deal with both. We have to deal with hearing about Judaism in Argentina and dealing with the eggs here.
Okay, just put them aside. And do you have your olives chopped already, or you have just?
Not yet. Do I want to keep them separate from the eggs, or does it matter?
It doesn't matter. You can keep it on the same cutting board and chop the olives next to it.
How many olives? A half a cup of olives, I think you said?
Yeah, around half a cup of olives.
Half a cup of olives, about? Like that? A little more?
Yeah. To taste, whatever you like. If you like it more salty, you put more olives. If you like it less, between a third and a half a cup of olives.
Okay,
And
there's a question. What's the question?
Do you also check both eggs for blood specks for Pesach? How do we that without crushing the egg?
Okay, if you eat a whole egg, someone asked about, do you have to check the eggs for Pesach? And how do you do it without crushing the egg? So the answer is, if you're eating a whole egg, you don't have to check it. If you're opening up the egg and breaking it up, then you have to check it. So when you eat the egg on the Seder plate, if you eat a whole egg, you don't have to check it. We don't assume that there's blood in the egg, but once we open it, then we check it. Okay, I'm chopping up the olives. So
you want to take the meat off the fire and
Okay.
transfer it to a bigger dish so it can cool down a little bit.
Okay, just a minute.
If you have like a baking dish, something wide, so the meat can.
Like this?
Yeah, something to let the steam come out so it cools down and you can handle it.
Okay, one second.
Okay, now you add the eggs and the olives.
To the meat that's in the pan?
Yeah.
Okay, one second. The eggs and the olives to the pan, to the meat in here.
To the meat, yes, and stir that up together and taste it. See what you think of it.
I usually cook without tasting, but in your honor.
What do you say?
I usually cook without tasting, but in your honor, I'll taste.
Okay, thank you. I feel honored. I want you to taste, check if you like the salt and the cumin, if it's enough, or you need to add some more. As I said, you don't want a strong cumin taste. It has to be like an underlying flavor. It's not a thing of.
Okay.
Amen.
I don't taste a lot of spices at all.
Okay.
Did I add salt to this? Did I add salt to this? I don't think I added salt. I think I put salt only in the, I didn't add salt to this. Does it need salt?
Yes, a little bit of salt. Yes, definitely.
Okay, because, yeah, this I added salt to the dough, but not to this.
That should be enough.
Okay. Okay, this looks pretty good. This looks nice. Next step.
Okay, next step is going to prepare. I'm going to prepare a clean surface where you can roll out your dough. You're going to need a rolling pin and some flour.
Okay, let me just go get the dough, right? I get it out of the fridge now?
Yeah. Like,
Okay, just like that. Okay, can you see the paper? You know what? I had for those of you who were here when I tried to make the apple strudel, you would know that I messed up the apple strudel really bad. So I learned my lesson. I put paper out. You want me to put flour down first, right?
Yeah, but don't put paper. Don't put paper. Go straight
Why?
on the table.
Why?
Because when you roll it out, the paper is going to go everywhere. I never understood how people roll out dough on paper.
The paper
Unless
is
it's taped down.
taped down. We were thinking
Taped
ahead.
down.
Okay,
Okay, if it's taped down, it's good.
should I
Yes, put some flour. Don't put too much flour, but have the flour ready because when you take out the dough, like you saw before, it's a very, very soft dough. So you want to create like a little, I would say like a crust with the flour that you put around the dough. And that's going to help you be able to work with it. Then it's not going to fall apart.
Okay, so now I want to go ahead and roll it.
Roll it out. Yeah, sprinkle some flour on the dough also on both sides. Just like that. Is there a way you can put your camera a little closer to where you're working so I can see?
Is that better?
Not really. It's like very bright and okay, now it's better. Now it's better. Yeah, it was very bright before I couldn't see. Okay, so now you're gonna,
Okay.
it's bright again.
Is
Um,
that better?
yeah, a little bit.
You
I'm
know what?
going
I
to
think
roll.
you're right. I think you're right. I'm going to scrap the paper and just put flour down on the counter. I'm going to, never mind the paper. We'll get rid of the paper. You're right. Paper's not working. And we'll take flour and put it right on the counter here. I want to point out that as we've talked about in the past, 2 cups of flour is not enough to take challah. There's no need to take challah off the dough. Separate challah. How are we doing on this? It's kind of very, very flaky, very extremely flaky, and it smells of vinegary. Is that what it's supposed to be?
Yeah, yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Do I want it to be thinner, or am I okay?
What you do want to keep doing is make sure that you have the flour under your dough.
Well, I put some underneath. You want me to pick it up again and put some more underneath?
Yeah, pick it up and make sure it's not sticking to the counter. You see how it's breaking up and going with your rolling pin? So you don't want that to happen. You might need a little bit more flour on your dough so it's a little stiffer. Other than that, you're doing great.
Other than that, dough's falling apart, no good, but otherwise I'm doing great. Okay. You should know that dough is not one of my strong points. Okay, let's
Okay.
try this. Put a little more flour on the dough, you think?
A little bit, so it doesn't stick to your rolling pin and it doesn't break up when you roll it out.
No, it's all breaking up. So I think, oh, there we go. That's a little better. That's better.
If you see the dough is too soft, you can pick it up and put it back into a bowl and start over again with a little bit more flour. You'll see as you work with the dough, it's going to become stiffer and it's going to be easier to work with.
So should I do that? Does it look like I need to do that, or should I just leave it?
I don't see. Try to pick it up a little bit, pull it up and see if it's okay. It's holding.
Kind of falling apart.
It's falling apart. Okay, if it's falling apart, put it back into a bowl and start over again. And don't use the full
What?
amount of. Don't use the whole dough. Use half the dough only now. This time.
And then add some flour.
Add some flour again to the counter and to the counter.
But also on here, right? Mix it again.
No. Don't. You're not gonna need flour into the dough.
Okay, well, I did already, so it's too bad. Okay.
Okay, it's gonna be fine.
And now put more flour on the counter.
Yeah, a little bit so it doesn't stick, and you will roll it out again. To I would say, let me do. I have to like switch this from 2 inches. You want to roll it out to 1/4 of an inch. Make sense? Yeah, more or less 1/4 of an inch. Okay.
Okay. How's that?
Wait.
Is that okay?
Yeah. Can you pick it up? Can you pick it up from the counter, or it's stuck to the counter?
I can pick it up to the count from the counter, yes.
Okay, great. So now you have a cookie cutter or a cup or a bowl that you're going to use to cut with. What are you going to? Okay.
Like that?
Yeah, but start from the side so you can get as many circles as you can at a time.
Okay, I think I have more or less 3 circles. Maybe this one could be made into another one.
You'll use the leftover dough soon. It's okay. Just take out the extra dough from around the circles. Keep on the counter only the circles that you're going to be filling. And now it's time to fill them up.
Okay, now just in the center,
You're gonna
right?
You're going to put a tablespoon. Make sure that the amount you put is not going to stop you from being able to close the dough.
Right.
But you don't want them to be empty inside. You want them filled enough, like properly, but you should be able to close it. Now, when you're going to close it, I'm going to take one of the sides and put it over the meat and close it over the other side of dough that you still have on your counter.
I think it might be too much meat.
Try and see if you need to take out. Very good. Press it down to stick.
I think a little bit too much on the side here.
Okay. So for the next one, you'll remove some of the meat. Okay. So now you can start playing with the seam of the dough and decorate it. You can either leave it like this, or you can take a fork and like press around it to make like little designs on the dough.
How about like, no, this is not going to work. Okay, with a fork, 1 second.
Or if you want to complicate it and make it the real way.
I'm going to try and do the next one. I'm going to try and do the next one.
The only thing when you do it with a fork, try not to prick the dough, because you want all the juices of the meat to stay inside. Basically, a good empanada is the empanada that you bite into it and all the juices like fall out and stain your shirt. That's when you know it's a
All right.
So you don't want to prick it. You want everything to stay inside. All the moisture of the meat and the vegetables to stay inside.
Okay, so that's one. I'm going to try and do the other one the other way. If I Let me see. This one has a little bit less meat. This one I'm
Okay.
gonna try. There we go. Okay, now I'm gonna see if I can do it. Like, let me see if I've seen it done, but I don't know if I can actually do it. Like that.
You basically pick it up, twist it, and press it down.
Yeah.
Rabbi, I think you can start booking your tickets and come make empanadas in my house. You're doing great.
Okay.
I'm impressed.
All right. One more.
One more.
I'd love to come, actually. I'm planning to come, Bezrat Hashem, one day. I was in Argentina once for like a weekend. I came to
Yes.
visit you. I had a ticket that actually this one is falling apart.
Oh, no problem. Take out the dough and use the filling for the next one.
Okay, so how about this
I
one?
remember when was it that you came?
I don't remember. It was a long time ago. And some guy called me and he said, I have a ticket that can be used, has to be used in the next 2 weeks. You can go to either London or Argentina. And I called my mother and said, I'm coming home to London. And she said, oh, so sorry, I'm away this weekend. So I called my sister, your mother, and I said, hi, I'm coming for Shabbat. And she said, great. And I came for Shabbat to Buenos Aires. It was crazy because I went on Thursday and I came back on Sunday. Anyway, okay, now let's see if I can do this one again. So I'm going to do, in 1 second, wait a second. This goes like that.
I actually have, when I told my kids I was doing this on Zoom with you, they all requested they wanted empanadas for dinner. So I have some dough and filling left over. I don't know if you want me to show you different ways of closing this or
This
your
this
one.
is fine. I think for now, this is fine.
Okay.
Unless everybody votes, there we go.
Check you out.
All right, now
Very
what?
well. Now you are going to place this on your cookie sheet lined with parchment paper with some sprinkled of flour on the tray. And these are going to get ready to be baked. Or you can also deep fry them and then they're really good.
I think we'll bake these.
Okay. You're going to egg wash them first. And if you like, you can put some sesame seeds on top also, but that's a tradition.
Did you say you want me to egg them?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Is the
Sure.
dough for frying and the dough for the oven the same dough?
I don't usually fry them, but if I would use the same dough. If you buy the ready-made dough, they sell different doughs.
Yeah.
A more oily dough is going to be for baking.
Mm,
Less oily dough is going to be for frying.
yeah. Because I saw the two doughs, one for the oven and one for frying. So that's why I'm asking.
Right. So
Okay.
the dough that's going to be for baking is going to be, like I said, either like a fattier dough with more oil, and it's going to become flaky in the baking.
Mm-hmm.
And the other dough is going to get crispy in the frying. But you can fry these perfectly.
Thank you.
Sure. What I do sometimes, like I said about the crackers, another thing I do sometimes is when I have extra dough, I roll it out thin and then I cut little either squares or little sticks of dough and I fry them just until they start getting golden. And then when they come out, I put them on a paper towel and then I sprinkle salt, and they're a very good, unhealthy, and fattening snack. Can they be made veggie? Yes, you can make empanadas. Like I said, empanadas could be sweet or savory. You can put any type of filling inside. Chicken, tuna, cheese, vegetables. I've seen also empanadas made with eggs inside, like a mix of hard-boiled eggs and I think fried onions or something, or just plain vegetable.
How long do they go?
Any,
How long do they go into the oven for?
till they become golden.
About
25 minutes, 30 minutes.
So tell me, so they're in the oven, and I'm not going to deep fry any. I'm just
Okay.
going to, unless I do, maybe some chips. Should I make some chips with what's left?
Go
This
for
is
it.
left. So 1 second. So with this, what I want to do then, maybe I could deep fry these, but it's going to take too long because we only have a few minutes left. So I don't want to do this, but I'll do
Okay.
this later.
Okay.
Okay. Can we see yours?
My empanadas.
Can you show what you made?
Yours look better.
Really?
Yeah. Can you bring the tray of empanadas in the oven? Can you bring the tray of empanadas in the oven?
Actually, I have an idea. I have an idea. I actually have an idea. Tell me of this one.
I'll show you my empanadas with a big disclaimer. I made them for my family and I didn't make them on Zoom or on Facebook. I made them right before dinner time with 7 kids under my feet. And yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to roll this out. I'm actually going to roll this out, and I'm going to fry it for you. But what I want to ask you is, you can tell me what specifically is the work that you and your husband do for Chabad in Argentina?
Okay. So basically, you asked me before how we got here. Part of the story that I did not tell you is that when we were being offered jobs, like Chabad rabbis are everywhere in the world. In the more remote places, our Chabad rabbis can be found. So we were looking into, all kinds of options, all kinds of countries and places to go to be rabbis there. And we then asked the Lubavitcher Rebbe, we wrote a letter and we wrote a few options that we had at the moment. And the answer that we received was, you are working with kids, with teaching Jewish children, and you're thinking of leaving what you're doing. And that was our answer, to stay right where we were and keep doing what we were doing. So so right after that, we started expanding a little bit the activities, and what we do is basically um, it's called Tivot Hashem. Tivot Hashem. Maybe some people have heard of this. Tivot Hashem is an organization that the Lubavitcher Rebbe started in 1980 or 81, if I'm not mistaken. And basically, the idea is to view children as not only the future of the Jewish nation, but also the present. The children are here now, and they are our Jewish people. And it's the program is done. The organization works as if it's an army, and the children are the soldiers, and they go up in ranks by doing all kinds of activities and learning, extracurricular learning, and all kinds of programs that give them points, and they go up in rank. And yeah.
How many kids are
So
involved? How many kids are involved in Argentina?
so my husband works out of the Chabad school, the boys' school only. Has around 180 kids, and the girls' school has a similar amount.
Wow.
And so basically what we do is we have all kinds of activities for the children. It's all my husband's office is in the school. Well, right now my husband's office is in the living room, but this office is in the school, and the kids get all kinds of missions they have to do and competitions and learning programs and things they have to do, but it's extracurricular. It's not a teacher that comes and teaches the kids, but the kids have to learn at home or do all kinds of learning between, with friends. And we also do, we visit old age homes with the kids, and we come and sing for the people there. We have summer camps, and we have all kinds of activities over the weekend, Shabbat morning, and sometimes on Sundays in the winter. Yeah, all kinds of fun things for the kids.
A lot of work, a lot of fantastic things. Do you have any thoughts about the differences between working for Chabad in Argentina or working in the United States? Do you have any thoughts about the differences? Are there any differences? Is it similar? Is it easier? Is it harder? I'm going to wash my hands just a second.
Well, in general, living in the States and living in Argentina is very, very different. Whichever way you look at it, it's different. So let's say one of the programs we wanted to do here with the kids is a program that is based out of New York. And for us, it didn't work, for example, because of our year, and the seasons are different than you guys. So when we have our good chunk of 3-4 months of school year, you guys have your summer vacations in the middle, or the other way around. So that's the difference. That programs that are pre-made, we cannot do. There are other kinds of differences. Children here are a little bit, how would I say it? I'd say a little bit behind in what they expect. So you can do things like it was done, years ago in America, and they're still going to be happy with it. So it's,
So
more
they're not,
simple.
they don't have as much expectations of more,
Yeah.
like they,
Yeah, something like that. Um,
one second, I'm gonna just throw a couple little pieces of dough, just throw into the oil.
Also, Argentina, the things that we can get here, we can buy or whatever, is much less than in America. It's like America 100 years ago, more or less. So you get the idea.
There's a perception that there's a lot of anti-Semitism in Argentina. Is that true?
Look, I'll tell you what, the Argentinian person is a jealous type of person, and therefore that brings anti-Semitism also. But at the same time, they are afraid of saying it to your face. Very rarely you'll be said something to your face. So you might walk in the street and they'll say something when you pass them, like to your back, or they might say it to their friends. But thank God we don't walk in the streets, being afraid of anti-Semitism, and we're not afraid of showing who we are and doing what we do. Like I said, we have public menorah lightings with hundreds of people, and they're broadcast on TV, and thank God we don't live under the pressure of anti-Semitism. That it exists, yeah, it exists. It exists like in every other place. And also, you have to have in mind that to Argentina came a lot of Nazis after the war to escape. Argentina received them with open arms and hid them here and protected them. So we do have that influence. But at the same time, it's not something that you walk in the street and you're afraid of showing that you're a Jew walking, with your kippah or with your tzitzit. It's not. So my kids walk in the street and I'm not worried about anti-Semitism. I wanted to add something to what I was saying, what the activities we do now that Corona came. Um, we have been in quarantine for 8 months. My kids actually went to school for 4 days back in March, and they just went back to school this week. So that's around 7.5, 8 months. Um, People here in Argentina live in very, very small, crowded apartments. Um, we don't have backyards and front yards and grass around us. We live in tight apartments, and there was a very big need of to entertain the kids and to keep them busy with good, positive content. So my husband was already doing videos for the kids as part of the programs, but now he started a weekly gathering over online, and for which he makes videos and all kinds of educational programs. The kids have competitions that they have to, send back answers or art and crafts or all kinds of things, and then they go into raffles and they win prizes. So that's something that started um, thanks to the quarantine, and that's something that also expanded to other Spanish-speaking countries. We have kids from Chile, we have kids from Paraguay, from Panama, from all kinds of countries watching these programs, and that's something very nice um, that happened
Fantastic.
lately.
That's
Yeah.
wonderful. All right,
Yeah.
listen, Leah, we're gonna have to go. The stuff is still in the oven. Let me just check it, see what it looks like.
Uh,
Okay, the stuff that's in the oven still needs a little more time, so we're gonna leave that in the oven. But here we have a couple of fried ones. I didn't make them fancy at the ends because I just wanted to get them fried, but they look
Okay,
pretty good. They
but
look
you
pretty
need
good.
to.
Let me,
I think you need to
huh?
fry them a little more. I think you need to fry them a little more. Did you deep fry that?
Kind of, yeah. They look fried. Looks
Okay.
pretty well fried. No?
I think you want to deep fry them a little more. You want all the dough to be cooked all the way. That white is cooked.
Huh?
The white parts are cooked of the dough.
Yeah? Here,
Okay.
this. Yeah? I think so. I shouldn't eat it, but it tastes pretty good. Yeah? It's good. It could be fried a little more, I guess so. So I'll put it back in the pan for a little longer.
Okay.
You see? It looks okay. It could probably be a few more minutes, but it looks good.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks good, and I would put it a little more to get an even browning on the dough, and you'll see that it becomes like blistery. That's when you know it's ready. And I'm going to show you mine, but I'm a little.
Show me yours. Yes.
I can't just. I guess this is a okay one. Uh, where is he?
Okay. Oh, wow. That looks good. That was baked, right? That was baked?
This is baked.
That was baked.
Yeah, this one was.
Yeah, you can see that was baked.
And here's.
So you want to have it a little bit more brown all over. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you want the dough to become blistery and
I
like
see. Okay.
dark, even browning. Don't let it burn, but get it dark and golden.
Oh, that looks good. That looks really good. All right. Well, we got some empanadas. They may not be as good as yours, but they look pretty good. Is it working? I think we're frozen.
I don't.
Something's frozen, right?
I lost you. Where are you?
Mommy.
I don't see you.
Hi, the other one froze. So I'm just going to use this and I'm going to say goodbye.
You are muted. You muted yourself.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I want to say that this has been very interesting. I don't generally do work with dough, but this has been a lot of fun. I want to thank you very much. It's wonderful to have you with us. Fascinating to hear what's going on over there and all the work that you guys are doing with the kids. Sounds fantastic. And I want to ask you to please give my regards to my sister and brother-in-law, your parents.
Your sister is here, actually. But I
Oh,
will give her.
really? Hello. Hi, Rivka.
Hi, you did a great job. Yeah, you can come here. You're very welcome. And then she'll give you another class.
Thank you. I'm planning to come, and then I'm not going to get a class. I'm going to get the food.
Oh, okay.
Thank you very much. If anybody has any questions for Leah, you can email them to me, and I'll forward them to her. And if you're on Facebook and you missed the beginning, we're going to post the whole thing once we're done here. Thank you all very much for joining us. Look forward to seeing you again. Today is a special holiday, Yom Tov of Rosh Chodesh Kislev. It's a very special day, so I want to wish you all good Chodesh, a good new month, a good Yom Tov, and may Hashem help that this Kislev, which is the month of redemption, of Hanukkah, of light, and Yud Tes Kislev and Yud Kislev, may this be the month of true redemption with Mashiach. Thank you all for joining us. We appreciate it. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye, everybody.
Regards to the family.